Hey folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Real quick, folks, are you tired of people in your life that just cannot support your journey? It doesn't matter how hard people see you working. It doesn't matter how hard you're striving to be successful. It doesn't matter how hard you're looking to build wealth, save money, or change for the better. It doesn't matter because people are always, and this is always people close to you, there to try to take the wind out of your back, take the wind out of your sails. And I say that because it takes a lot to have inner strength, inner confidence, and belief in what you're doing and faith in your capabilities and abilities. You'll have many people doubt you in life. You're going to have your parents doubt you. You're going to have your friends doubt you. You'll have your spouse doubt you. You're going to look to try to always, when you want to be successful, you're going to look to always want to bring people in, bring people around you to kind of be a part of the successful journey. And I'm telling you this, even after you've been successful, even after you built a business, even after you built income, people still will try to take some of that light away from you because they want the light for themselves. They want to be in the light. They want the light. They want them to be the one that shines. And it doesn't matter if it's your children that lack faith in you, your spouse that lacks faith in you, your teachers, your peers, your environment, your community. You will always have to default to believing in you. I'm not talking about blind belief, but I'm so baffled at the fact that people will see you working hard for your success, will see you start gaining traction, gaining success, and then they will look like the bar is higher than that, and what you've accomplished is literally nothing. And then when you challenge them on it and you push back, they'll say, oh no, it's something. And then they'll go back to, but it should be this and more. And when you ask people about their counter achievements, it always fails in it pales in comparison to what they were able to accomplish before. And then what happens is they got to go back years upon decades in time to get to a point where they can say they had equatable success, when yours has been the culmination of step by step, work by work, hour by hour, day by day of just tasks, consistency, persistency, all the necessary recipe to become successful in life. You've been doing it, and you've been doing it relentlessly. And instead of them saying, hey, let me take a step back and see what I can do to help, what do? They try to take you. Now they know the direction. Now they know the best way for you to be successful after you got yourself to that point. Now, what they can tell you is how they made way or space to facilitate you to be able to do what you got to do. Like that was what was needed for you to be successful. Like I've spent nights out at 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, making or editing videos, coming up with new content, putting ads out, thinking of how I'm going to make a new land video to keep people interested in buying dirt, to writing a book. And people tell me, well, how'd you have time to do that? Through sheer will and effort. Sheer will and effort. The fact that the people in my lives that try to stop me from being successful, I wasn't going to let that deter me. And again, it's sometimes people in your own damn household, man, that'll be doing it. I had a person that I work with, man. She is, I guess I'm going to say, divorced or has a baby dad. And I listen to people when I talk to them, and I'm like, how does that make sense? And she's telling me how she's now single because she gave up her 2 children to the father because she's having issues with the kids now, can't control them. So they're old enough now where she's giving them to the father and they're a disciplinary problem. I mean, real talk. And this is just, it happened in my basic life, and I've seen it on TikTok videos. And despite everything that could be obvious, she's saying she's on the market now. Like, what guy wants to walk into that mess? You got a situation with your baby father. You have 2 kids that you cannot control. They have to live with their dad. So it becomes a tug of war over, or a hot potato over who, with the children. who's going to take care of the kids that are now bad and out of control? Hopefully the father can do a good job. And if he can't, well, then when he gets sent back to her place, now a man's supposed to inherit that problem. I don't understand it. Like, what man wants to walk into that situation and say, hey, no, this is what I want to sign up for? And I'm like, but in her mind, she's ready to hit the streets. And I'm like, huh? Like, do you know how bad you, like, what are your prospects right now? And what did she say? She said, I don't think a man can tell me what to do. And I'm like, yeah, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah, I've talked to many people all the time. You know, players get instruction from coaches. Coaches get instruction from owners. Owners get instructions from shareholders. Like, everyone gets instruction from someplace. It's called order for a reason. And if you want a democracy, someone that you could be, then why do you want a man to be a leader then? You can't ask for a man, or you want a man to lead you, to be able to do for you, to have better and be the table for you to exist on, if you're not going to allow the leadership to happen. You can't question leadership at every play unless you're the leader. And here's the thing I got about, this reversal of, men lead. And I'm going to get to the men on top of that, because we got a problem on what is defined as leadership. You cannot, as a woman, ask a man, or will look for a man to be a leader, and at every step in turn, you sabotage that by instant questioning and considerate questioning. When you are short on doing and more and big on asking and questioning, you are not a person that can be led anywhere. I mean, just imagine Phil Jackson, anybody who's a coach trying to coach Kobe, Jordan, or LeBron, and saying, hey, I need you to go do this. And LeBron questioning him at every turn. He won't follow a process. He won't do the process. He won't trust in the coach. He won't do anything to say, hey, let me follow, see how it works, and come back with, hey, maybe we could do something different after I've at least tried and allowed myself to be coachable. I want to allow myself to be coached because I'm not coachable. And where does that come from? It comes from when you're a child, no one holds you accountable for being responsible. Yeah, everyone talks about, these kids don't have any responsibility. No, everyone has responsibility. You're not held to any accountability for your responsibility. You're not held to being responsible. Like, my daughter, I had to talk to her yesterday. It's like, hey, I gave her a hug, came home from school, and instantly I could smell her armpits. And I'm like, man, damn, the deodorant we got you, it should hold up throughout the whole day. And did you put deodorant on? No, Dad, I didn't put no. I'm like, you're 11 years old. I know kids forget. I do. But when you create systems in place, things that can be automated in your children's lives, it gives you as a parent freedom to not have to micromanage them every day. Like, hey guys, when my kids, you get up, we're going to have breakfast, you're going to brush your teeth afterwards, then after that, you're going to do your hair, clean up, get ready for school, and then you're going to clean the house before you go. Meaning you're going to vacuum, sweep out the bathrooms, take out the trash, and get all of that done. Yes, that is done every day before school, religiously. And part of a young girl and boy is understanding hygiene and practicing daily hygiene. And I'm like, don't you got deodorant? We give her, so people saying she forgot deodorant, but she has deodorant that she takes her to school. Like, we give her to-go deodorant at school in case she gets sweaty, anything else like that. She has condiments at school in her locker that she could use. And it's like, but you got to be able to smell your armpits. But the upkeep is not there. The checking, the consistent routine building that, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Check on that. Okay, good. You did all of that stuff. Good. And build it into routine. It's got to be reinforced at every step of the way. If it's not done, then kids will miss 9 times out of 10. Now, if I don't say anything, don't do anything, don't check her, don't reprimand her, don't say anything, she will start to form a a queue will be formed. When I say a queue, it means that she does this and nothing happens. In her mind, it tells her there is no punishment, there is no responsibility, whatever you want to call it. There is no accountability for me lacking in my responsibility. Do you get that? That's a gem right there. There is no, when I as a parent do not check my daughter or my child or anyone else that is underneath my leadership, you send a signal that there is now no accountability for lack of their responsibility. And that's an issue. So the cue is formed. Hey, nothing's going to happen if I do this. They go to do it again. It reinforces, nothing's going to happen if I don't do this. I missed on this. Now I didn't do that. Maybe I didn't brush my teeth today. Next thing I don't know, maybe I didn't wipe my ass tomorrow. Maybe I'm walking around with dry or wet doodle in between my legs and I smell like ass. Maybe that's what's next. And again, as I keep going on and on and on and on at reinforcing this and seeing that nothing happens, I now have an instinct to want to buck at any time someone now comes in and try to put structure in place. That's what happens when you take a 12-year-old to their dad and they're out of control and you say, hey, fix this problem. They're yours now. But the cues have been all laid out that they're allowed to do this because you got a buck. So now as a father, as another parent, and this could be reversed too as well, as a parent receiving this problem, you now have to go into level 100 in order to correct something that should have been corrected a long time ago. And that means when you're in a relationship or an environment where structure is ever set, when you're in a structured environment, when you live without this structure and reinforcement of the structure, reinforcement of the boundaries, reinforcement of the routine, reinforcement of you are held accountable with the responsibility that you've been given, that you've been mandated to do. And it is not up for discussion nor anything else unless I say it is up for discussion. This is what's required of you. And I said that to my kids because my son, we have to talk to my son about his handwriting often, with his handwriting being sloppy, and I don't let it go. And I told my wife the same thing. I'm like, you all have a problem with me being upset about this stuff, but nowhere in the real world are you allowed to just skate by and continuously not, you can't go anywhere and go say, I'm just not going to pay my rent because I don't feel like it, and I'm expected to still have a house. Now, people do that. Or I'm going to be able to live here. People do that, but the eviction tends to always happen. I mean, outside of like the pandemic and things like that, people just get evicted. That happens. And people are shocked when it comes. And that is because in their lives, you're seeing evidence that the accountability for the responsibility that people have is not reinforced. And then they get the wake-up call in real life. Real life comes a knocking and says, hey, I don't care what your parents didn't teach you. Here's a lesson you should have learned. And what do people do? They get into debt. They start failing, like many of the videos we see on TikTok. Many of the people surprised that now they have to be accountable. They're going to be held accountable after even the government in previous administrations allowing them to go and be unaccountable. For years. I got people I know in my family that they probably don't even watch this video, which is fine because I'm going to talk about them anyway, that they have lived their entire lives being not accountable at all. And now in their later stage in life, they have to be accountable. Now they have to do it. But now they're older, tired, not as young. They didn't prepare themselves and they're basically hanging on a thread. And the only reason why they're not homeless right now today is because someone had enough care. They attached themselves to someone who was in need of them more than what they could be used for, and they left them something behind. That was it. It's basically a virus feeding off its host without giving it anything in return. Not symbiotic, like, Venom, where you get super strength or anything else like that. We're just talking about a straight parasite. Parasitic relationship where the only benefit is to the one person, and what you think is the protection, the boosted immune system, really is an overwhelming immune response that makes you invulnerable to disease and sickness, because really it's crashing your immune system at the same time. That's what's happening. And I'm saying this because, again, people need to think about what they're doing long term. I talked about this in my other video. People rarely look at long term things in life. People rarely have conversations about outcomes that they want in life. And they rarely even more talk about the steps on how to get there. Rarely. They rarely have conversations about the steps that are needed in order to be successful. A lot of people just talking about successful and, hey, if you want a house, I want a house, great, that's it. No one talks about what we need to do and pay to get to that house. No one needs to talk about what credit we need to have. We're just both going to be on debt. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to have spending habits. Like I saw this one video one time. This lady had, she pays all the bills. I don't know why a man would ever do that, not check. But apparently she has spent all the credit card money and put like $45,000 worth of debt, gambling debt, that she has a gambling problem that she didn't tell her husband about. And he don't know that they're going after, they're about to lose everything because she's in gambling debt. Now he's got to find out, and now they're trying to work it out. She's so glad she told him, but she was living a lie. And I'm saying to myself, like, how? How do you do this in good conscience? Because again, y'all never have conversations about what are our habits? What do you want out of life? How do we get there? I got to take money out the bank. And I'm asking myself, how? You're more interested in mating with the girl instead of talking about how do y'all get to places in life. And of course she don't want to talk about it because she ain't got no damn answers for you. And that lets you know something, means that if you have answers for solutions on how to get somewhere in life, you therefore are the leader. The other person that wants power because they want to have a say is not a person that is a leader. That is a person that is a follower. That is a person that is headed for destruction. That is a person who wants power without responsibility. I'm gonna land my plane on this point because I was thinking about this on my way to work, and I said that the problem with people right now is people want power without responsibility. And that's what people are missing. When you are the president of the United States, when you are in Congress, you have a responsibility with the power that you have. Yes, you're a politician. Yes, you have the ability to make rules and make laws and make changes and everything else like that. But you do have a responsibility. I mean, look at Elon Musk. What happened? He went in there with Doge and made all these changes and pissed a whole lot of people off, only for those people to go and burn his shit down, right? Because again, with the power comes responsibility. If you do not have responsibility with the power you have, then people will go and attack it. They will buck. And I said the same thing to my wife. If you don't show the kids how to follow a leader, then they'll never follow you. But you can't expect you to not listen to what I have to say and then expect the children to listen to what you have to say, because they're watching you not be cooperative with leadership. You want your children to listen to what you have to say, but you don't listen at all. That's what the girl told me. I don't think a man can tell me what to do. Well, shit, when a child hears that, they say, well, if she can't be told what to do, well, why the hell should I listen to her? It makes sense to children. You see how I'm connecting all of this? It makes sense to children. It makes sense. If you cannot be told what to do, then I should follow what you're teaching. But again, we want to be selective with our power. We want our power over others, but we don't want to follow that structure ourselves. And I've told my wife, even I have to listen to what a doctor says. The doctor could be wrong. At some point, I've got to shut up and do what the doctor says. He can be wrong, but he needs to be wrong in order for me to be right. I can't be right and he be wrong, and I stand on my righteous pulpit and think that I'm going to defend righteousness by not following instructions or orders that were given to me. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. How it works is doctor puts in orders, you administer the orders. That's it. Good, bad, right, or wrong, it does not matter. That's what the doctor ordered. That's what he wants. That's what it is. It's not your job to sit here. You can question, you can clarify, but at some point, doctor says, hey, this is what I need you to do. That's it. And a lot of times, doctors are not looking to sit here and be questioned all day. My manager is not sitting here going to have a long discussion over something that I'm required to do in my job description. And that's what people got messed up. You think that you have a lot more say than you do in the world, and you don't. People let you say anything, but when it comes to policymakers, people who make decisions, you don't have a whole lot of say. What you have is a lot of accountability for their responsibility, because what they do falls on you. The only time it matters to them is when it comes to election time. So I say that often, is that you got to be wary of people who want power without understanding the responsibility. I told my wife all the time, man, I would love to be a stay-at-home dad, but I don't want to be a stay-at-home dad. I think it's a great thing to do. But we can't do that if I make the most money. If I make the most money, then the stay-at-home person, if we're looking for that lifestyle, is going to be the person who does not make that much money. It doesn't mean you're devalued, but it means that with that becomes, I have to look at how the finances are going to be allocated, because I'm the one making the income. You do not get to sit here, because I know when my check's going to be low. I know when my check's going to be this. I'm tracking what my pay is. I know what I want as far as in a raise. I'm looking at that information, but I'm doing the work, because the power is about the responsibility, not the power. But what you want is the power, because you think power gives you say. No, power gives you the responsibility. That gives you the authority to have the say. To say, no, we're not doing that. To say, no, we're going to do this. To say, no, we're not going to spend money on that. Because you have the responsibility to make sure when after you get done spending, there's still money left behind. And that's the problem with men. They do not do that. They can't say no. They're too busy trying to make the girl happy because they want to get the girl. But what they really aren't doing is showing that they have good leadership qualities. And what you're doing is you're placating a girl, saying you can have whatever you want. You can have the sun, the moon, the stars, and the mountains. You give them the whole world, right? You give them everything they want to make them happy. And that's all you want to do. You are in servitude to their happiness. And where does that get you? What did they say? Treat her like a celebrity. She gonna treat you like a fan. Treat her like a celebrity. She's gonna treat you like a fan. And the next thing you know, you're not talking to someone who sees you as an equal, because what you did was saw her as a celebrity. You saw her as somebody who was above you, and that's not the case. Tell me this. When is a lion, when is a male lion, when is a male's lion the alpha, because the guys like the alpha stuff, when is that given up? When is the male lion negotiating his position when he decides, I'm going to come in and challenge another male? When does he say, oh, I'm looking for democracy in my rule? I want to know whether the females decide to accept me. They don't. They go in, they take down the other male. It's a fight to the death in order for that power. In order for that power, you got to be responsible enough to not unalive yourself, or be unalived by the other lions, to not be taken out of the field by the other lions. It's them or you. It could be 4 lions on 1 lion. You still have to defend your pride, your cubs, your females. You got to defend everything, and it's do or die, life or death. And it's non-negotiable, or you walk away. And the other lions, they're not asking who's who's that kid. Everybody, either you get down or lay down, and we'll decide on whether you stay down. We're going to decide whether you stay or you getting up out of here permanently. That's how the game of life is played out there. Because I tell all the time, I tell my kids, if you think that other people care about you, then let me leave right now from where we are and see if anybody's worried about you when they leave. See if anybody's thinking about that. Because I know if I go somewhere and my kid's not there, I'm worried about where they at. Everyone else, they don't know. They're going to take care of their own kids. That's how much people care about you. And that's what people keep missing. Nowhere in life is power a democratic process. Power is seized and taken. and it's taken by force if needed, or it's given you unilaterally given because of the threat of that force. And power can be harsh. It can be, like in my family, I call it a benevolent dictatorship. It can be a beautiful thing, but it's going to feel heavy to carry that weight. And the reason why it's heavy to carry that weight is because I'm carrying more weight than you are. But I'm not looking to have discussions over things that I'm deciding we're going this way. And that's what a leader does. They decide we go right. You may not think it looks like the right way, but when we go down this path, you'll see it's the right way because that's where I'm headed. And sometimes it isn't the right way, but that's part of leadership. But you can't expect people to follow you when they show and seen examples of you not following others, because what you taught them that not following is the way if they're following you. That's all I'm going to say for today, folks. With power comes responsibility. With responsibility comes accountability. And if you cannot have accountability with responsibility, then you'll never have power in life. I'm going to land my plane there, folks. I hope you've been educated, enlightened, entertained. Make sure that you click the comment section below. I'll have it pinned at the top. There is a link to my book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner Guide to Vacant Land Investing, on Amazon. There's another link in the description section. There's a PDF where you can sign up for my newsletter. I am starting a newsletter, folks, a PDF on 5 things you can do about buying land. There's quick tips and things like that to sign up for my email list. And there are other things that I have coming out there now. It's time to start stepping up and bossing up, all right? Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands. Make sure you like this video and go to Ancestry Lands to get yourself some property too, folks. Don't skimp out on yourself. I'll talk to you and see you in the next one. Peace.